Hello friends, how are y'all doing? I'm in my bathroom with the door shut because it's the only way that I can have any alone time after 6 days at home in the snow. I'll get my water going here to make sure that it's not freezing cold. Hey Carol, how you doing? We're about to wash my face and tell y'all about something that's been on my mind. And I was just like, oh, I do have boobs. Sorry about that. I've been getting lots of comments lately that people apparently think I'm off the rails because I wear tank tops in my house, which is really funny. Kat, can you not? Can you not? I just shut this door for a reason. How you open it, I will never understand. How are y'all doing? Yay, now I've got some people online. I'm going to give y'all a little backstory on why this video is taking place. Some of you probably already know. So, let me start here. I've been separated from, hey, Stephanie and Sonia. I've been in an unexpected separation, slash, active divorce or whatever for, since July, basically. And, it's been a wild ride, emotionally, it's been a lot. And most people, I know I reached out to a friend of mine and she's gone through this also very publicly. And I asked her, I was like, what can I expect? I just don't know what to do. Like, I just wanted to go into a, corner and hide, basically. And she was like, no, listen to me. Your audience is going to be a safe landing place. Most people understand grief and hold space for it. It's such a human thing that we all share. And she's like, no, just give yourself some time. But when you're ready to talk, people will be there for you. And I will say that she has been like 95% accurate. But y'all know that like one of the things that I do is I will kind of like watch things as they play out on the internet, and I'll kind of be like, that's an interesting response, and I'll chew on it for a little while. And I notice patterns, and it's kind of, I feel like a little anthropologist sometimes, honestly. I have this weird life where I am able to interact with so many people at once and then notice patterns and responses and address them, And I love doing it. But the reason I'm doing this video is not to shame anybody. Please stop. Griffin, you're the worst. Okay. Is not to shame anybody who has said this, because I've said this before. I've been the person. So if anybody doesn't mind, hello, Griffin. You're going to get a cat butthole on your video. Sorry. He does not know how to give me privacy. If anybody doesn't mind timestamping the video, because I'm going to start the topic like right now, and let me know where we are. So I'm a Christian. A lot of people are like, oh, but you've deconstructed. I'm still deconstructing. I feel like I'm in the reconstruction phase of my kind of like faith midlife crisis or whatever, where I pulled everything apart and held it to the fire and figured out what held true for me, And I'm putting the pieces back together, but I very much love Jesus, and I'm very familiar with the Bible. And I get a lot of advice from people who find me because I'm a Christian author, and they're like, hey, this is what the Bible says, and I'm just trying to encourage you. And one of those well-meaning things is actually causing a lot of harm. And I don't think it's intentional. But I want to address it because it has caused me harm, and I have caused harm, and it's also just a fallacy. It's not even correct. So, for anybody experiencing grief, you've probably heard more than once. He will never put more on you than you can bear. Now, this scripture, and I am going to have to I can't do videos without doing something simultaneously because I have a pretty limited amount of time to do this today. I have a lot of women asking me, what do you do for a living? It seems like you're in your pajamas all the time. Hello, I'm a writer. That's what we do. We stay in pajamas and we think about things, and then we roll around feeling sad about the things that we think about, and then we put them into words. And so, yes, my life does look very different from most people's. I'm aware of that, but I do work. And so I've been going through it with you guys, and I get this a lot. I'm struggling. Like, I am 6 months into this, and the grief has not gotten easier. And people are losing their patience with it, I've noticed. Like, I guess there is some invisible egg timer for human suffering where people's empathy just ding, like they've hit it. They're done with you. Like, I'm so sorry that you're still having a hard time, but I'm done hearing about your hard time, right? And Christians tend to do this. It's called spiritual bypassing. And it's unintentional. And it might even be well-intended.
But the problem is, my grief does not cease to exist because somebody's made themselves feel better about it, right? When I am saying I am crushed, I'm crushed. And then somebody says, he will never put more on you than you can bear. But yes, he does. Let's go ahead and address the biblical aspect of that. Because the concept, that phrase actually comes from a Bible verse. And it's the interesting thing is a lot of misinformation comes with a kernel of truth, right? Paul, I believe in Ephesians, wrote that you will never be tempted beyond what you can bear. And he was specifically referring to the temptation to sin. Meaning if you're being drawn into something that is sinful, and we'll talk about what that means in a minute, there will always be a way for you to escape that situation. You will not be forced to sin by God, meaning you won't be tempted beyond what you can bear, okay? Now, I will clarify that the word sin means something very different to a lot of people. I think that the word sin actually comes from the word sin, which means to miss the mark. It's an archery term. So in my perfect opinion, as a Christian who nobody is asking my advice, I think that means that God is like, there is a way for you to do this, and I will always, and to do it well, and that way will always be available to you. But you can choose other paths, but it will not be because God forced you to, right? Now, let's go back to suffering. Nowhere in Scripture are we promised that God will not crush us. In fact, I would refer you to Job, who was very well crushed. He lost his entire family. And people are like, oh, but God comforted him and gave him a new family. Are you a parent, guys? Do you know what it would be like to lose your whole family? That man was crushed to a freaking pulp. That happens. And frankly, it was like a little bet. It was kind of a gross situation when I read about it, like with adult eyes. But what I've learned is the human experience is crushing. And to tell somebody that what they're experiencing will not crush them when they're well and thoroughly crushed is not actually loving or helpful. So here's the thing, like, I understand that grief, it sucks to watch. I kind of fell in love with the friend, if you will, Kelly Cervantes, while she was in the thick of some of the most complex grief that I've ever, do you realize you can remarry after you get a divorce? Is this true? Biblically, sure. I have all kinds of feelings and different opinions about divorce and remarriage. I went to a Southern Baptist church growing up, and their opinion was that basically you're married for life unless somebody cheats. And even then, my understanding at my church that I went to was that you're like still tied to that person. And a whole lot of the trauma that I have right now experiencing this unwanted divorce is that I have no control over the situation. And I grew up spiritually believing that it was a forever situation. I can't get out of this. This is basically me for life, loving this person. And that's kind of a toxic theology, because people should be free to leave relationships, including Ian. And so, yeah, it's been really, really hard for me as a Christian to process any of this, because it's not what I wanted. It's not what I believe in. But then again, it kind of is, because like if somebody reaches out to me and tells me they're in an unloving or unsafe relationship, I'll tell them to get out. And I think God would be all about it, because I think that a vow of marriage is broken when you stop cherishing that person the way that you promised. But again, I'm not a pastor. I'm just a woman who's experiencing these things. And so what I wanted to say, though, is like this practice of spiritual bypassing, which is it's all part of God's plan, or he will not put, more on you than you can bear. I want everybody to stop and truly examine in their hearts why they do it. Because the thing is, it's not actually for the person's benefit who you're trying to comfort. And when you explore it for more than just a second, you realize that it's only the person who's saying it who is receiving the benefit of that statement. They feel better about how uncomfortable they are with your grief when they tell you that God's not crushing you. They see you crushed, but they're like gaslighting you, frankly. Hey, you know what? You've got this. God said so. I'm like, no, guys, I don't. I don't have this. I'm not okay. I'm devastated. Let me be devastated. And, all people struggle with this, including me. I'm a fixer. When I see people hurting, the very first thing that I want to do is like rush in and solve that situation for them. Sometimes I spiritual bypass the hell out of my friends. I do. And like I try to find the meaning. What's it mean? What's the meaning in all of this? You know, put the cat out again. Shut the door. But guys, I think that's also some toxic theology. I think a lot of things happen that there is not supposed to be meaning for. And I think that we will make ourselves crazy trying to make sense of all of it. The world's broken. Life is hard. And the sooner we acknowledge that human truth and just comfort one another and just scoot up beside one another when things are hard, like Winnie the Pooh and his sad little friends, we'll be doing ourselves a whole lot of a favor. I'm going to share with y'all a little parenting moment that I realized that this is happening in my life too. With my son. He is extremely uncomfortable with negative emotions. And it's my fault. I'm his mom. I've obviously enforced that somehow. But he had come to the room, he saw me sad. And I was just having a really hard time, you know? And he was like, hey, can you just not be sad? I just need you to not be sad. When you're sad, I'm sad. I said, why, baby? It's okay for mommy to be sad. My sadness is not hurting me. I'm okay. Mama's fine. I love you. I'm just feeling these feelings right now. And he was like, well, if you're happy, I'm happy. And I was like, buddy, I want you to sit down real quick because that can't be a way that, and I'm like, oh my God, like it got me because that's how I've lived my life. If you're happy, I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. But that puts so much control in the other person's hands because you have no control over somebody else's feelings or happiness. And so I told him, I said, baby, I know that seeing mommy sad makes you really uncomfortable. You know how seeing me, how it makes me feel when you're sad? I feel the same way. I hate it. But he had done this thing where he like walked in and started being silly and trying to make me laugh. And I kind of got frustrated. I said, buddy, will you please stop like trying to make me laugh? It's not working. I want to feel this feeling. It's a valid feeling. And he didn't understand that. And I said, you know what, bud? If you fall down and get hurt and you're hurting, how would it feel if like mama starts clowning around because, and this is like, I'm not shaming my son. He's getting very well loved in this conversation. I want y'all to know. But I asked him, I said, you know, if you were hurting, would you like it if somebody tried to make you laugh while you were hurting? He said, no. I said, well, emotions hurt and I'm having just emotions, right? And this is like probably the 5th time I put the cat out in this video, right? I told him, I said, mama's safe. That's what you need to know is I'm okay. I'm safe. If mama's safe, I feel like you can be happy, right? Because nothing bad's happening to me, baby. I just have big feelings. And I said, you know, and when you're sad, it also makes me sad. But the solution can't be for me to be like, buddy, be happy so we can all be happy. Because that's just skipping over the process, you know? How many cats are in there? That is one cat that keeps coming in. That's Griffin. He always breaks in. Well, I'm a crazy cat lady now. Y'all know this. But I wanted to share that with y'all because I feel like there's all kinds of just well-intended things that really just cause more harm. And I'm trying to push back against it because like y'all just wouldn't believe how wild it is to get divorced on the internet. And here's the thing, like, I can't stop being on the internet. This is my job. I live here now, especially now. Got to be supporting myself. And y'all know this is happening. I'm not sharing details, but I'm literally just talking about my feelings. And it's so crazy how people rush to minimize and validate or make themselves feel better. Just in the last 2 weeks, okay, I've been accused of being off the rails because I was wearing a tank top on the couch and I had some cleavage, which, by the way, I do have a body. And it didn't start existing just because I was going through a divorce. I started doing some self-care and lotion and stuff, so maybe I'm wearing tank tops more. But who freaking cares? It's like, I'm not doing an OnlyFans. You would think, and frankly, if I was, more power to me. I'm not, but that's my own stuff that I got to work through. Maybe I'll have an OnlyFans one day. Maybe that's the next progression is me being like a sexy lady or something. I don't know why I lifted my leg when I said that. That's why I won't have one because I'm not a sexy person. Hey there. Oh gosh. But all that to say, I get criticized for doing karaoke because I get comments that are like, hey, you know, you're kind of off the rails acting like a college kid. I'm like,
I don't have my kids. Would you like me to stay home and cry? Or is it okay for me to go sing some songs with friends? I mean, people treat
Women so weird. Like, don't have fun, but don't be
sad either. Like, what, do you want me to stop existing? I exist, and shit's hard right now. And if that makes everybody uncomfortable, I'm so sorry. Like, I know Tiffany Jenkins has experienced this because I've seen it on her page where people are like, I really miss when you were like this and that and the other. And I'm like, you know what I really don't miss? That phase of my life where everything was actively falling apart. And it may have served other people better, but this is serving me quite well. This
healing stuff, this feeling my feelings
and
expressing them. And unless I'm embarrassing my
children or causing harm to my baby daddy, which I don't
think any of them feel that way. Maybe they do. Well, I feel very good about what I'm putting out there.
Proud of it, stand by it. Normalize it.
It's not a big D word. Like, literally, this is just a thing that probably half the country goes through.
And shaming people for processing it is just so bad.
Like, my Lord, y'all. So, yeah. And I got people asking me if I'm going to be dating. Like, they think that's the solution. And then some people think it's like a poison. I'm like, guys, like,
first of all, it's nowhere on my radar. I have so much
trauma to work through.
Like, with my own childhood and the fact that I had, like, a pretty dangerous and terrible stepfather. It's like, no way I'm going to let some dude in my house ever. Like, I have so much to work through before that's even on, a blip on my radar. But I feel like it's all in the same...
It's kind of all in the same vein, isn't it? People just want you to move on or move forward, and they don't really care how you do it.
And what I'm here to do right now is normalize the being in it.
And I can't just hit fast forward. I'm honest about what I go through. And, I mean, I can make y'all laugh.
Sometimes I'm not just sad all the time. But I'm sad a lot of the time. And it's going to be that way for probably
years, if I'm being honest. And that probably makes people disappointed. You know who else it disappoints? Me. I'm not super thrilled that I'm going to be sad for a very long time. Let people feel things, please. And also, yes, the Lord does put more on us
than we can bear. There are people in
these comments who will tell you they have been well and
thoroughly crushed into a pulp in this life.
I told somebody, they were like, just give it to Jesus.
He'll fix it. I said, my light's been blinking
for 6 months. And I love Jesus. And I talk to Jesus. But he has not swooped in and saved me. He saved me, yeah, in a spiritual sense, sure. But guys, like, the Jesus card does not trump pain. We're literally here in a human experience to hurt and suffer and survive.
It's just, we
Christians don't get to hit, like, fast forward or skip. We have.
Well, it turns out that I can actually resume a video, and I didn't know that was a thing. So that was kind of cool. While my phone died, I did my eyebrows, and I sprayed some Milky Mist on my face, and now I've rolled it all out. So I guess I shouldn't have any more wrinkles. That's the idea. I don't know how this thing's supposed to work, but it doesn't. Like, I keep, like, trying to snow plow up my wrinkles, and it ain't making it stop. So, y'all got the drift. The act of spiritual bypassing and minimizing and invalidating is not helpful. And I don't think that people are generally doing it on purpose, but it's something to keep an eye out for. And by the way, the whole God will never put more on you than you can bear is literally a fallacy. It's not in the Bible. Stop saying it. Okay? I love y'all very much. I need to go clean my house. And I will be very interested to see how this video plays out now that I'm going to go back and watch it from the beginning, because I'm pretty sure it just died and then I popped back on like, ha! I love y'all. And, oh, I don't like the way you are right now. You need to be like you used to be. And you said, I need you to leave me alone and let me be. She said, you want me to follow it. Oh, God, that's so hard. Like, you're right. I mean, people just want you to become the person that you were to them, but it has nothing to do with you. I will never be Mary Catherine from 3 years ago. That girl is not here anymore. I mean, I will honor her and love her. I still have a good heart, but, like, people change and grow and evolve, and when they have a life-crushing event, which you'll know it when you have it, and you might be like, divorce is not one of those. Maybe for you it wasn't. Maybe for me it was. Let's just let people have their experiences and not invalidate them. Right? Because it doesn't help. It doesn't fast forward the healing process, I can assure you. So, you know, you're exactly right. Healing is not fast food. There is no place and order and pull up to pick up your healing. It's a messy process. And I'm going to be honest about it because, you know what, like, I don't feel like my life is super great right now, but I do feel really good about the content I'm creating. And I feel really good about the fact that people feel less alone with me sharing it. And if that is the only silver lining I get in all of that, I'm going to cling to it like a cat on a curtain. That's what I'm going to do. So thanks for being here and loving me, and I will talk to y'all soon. I'm going to go finish cleaning my house and go take care of these little monsters who very obviously want to come back inside. They've been outside for literally 5 minutes. They've already come up the deck, and they're like, no, Mom, it's too cold. All right, that's fine. They've peed. They can come inside now. I love y'all. Bye.